And let's talk about the net zero compatible storage that we have on the system today. You see on the graph here on the left, it's a very small contribution comparative to where we need to be in terms of that tens of terawatt hours of hydrogen to provide the resilience to the system that would be required. And obviously, to have the hydrogen, you need to have the renewables there also to cater that need, and then have that long-term storage for the hydrogen, which these assets, they're not something you can just open up overnight. It'll take years of development to get up and running, and it's something we need to be considering right now in terms of getting to that net zero power system. And then obviously then the zero carbon dispatchable power generation. It's all very well good having hydrogen, but we need to have our assets capable of upgrading ones we have today, and also a new portfolio of assets to burn hydrogen or even fuel cells in the future to make use of this energy. So just to as a very simple illustration of what the system we're looking at in terms of integrated zero carbon energy system as opposed to electricity system, it's going to be very much in Ireland, we see very much pinned on the renewables and having that scale of renewables, and not just thinking about that direct electrification, but the wider need on the energy system. Using electrolyzers then to produce hydrogen, and storing, as I said, in salt caverns and depleted gas fields. And then having the power there and available when we don't have the wind, and even just to back up the wind on lower days, so that we can provide a zero carbon energy future for Ireland. And also having the opportunity then as well to export into the wider, we're obviously very aware there's a lot of strategies being announced across Europe, so there will be a lot of demand for this product. Obviously a lot of people making it, but I'd say there's probably going to be an even greater demand of people wanting to use it. So I think there's an awful lot of changes on the horizon in that space. So just in summary really, the key things in terms of enabling that net zero future that we are aiming to get to, the renewable policy needs to now support developing energy not just for the direct electrification that we do today, but also in terms of meeting that energy storage demand that's required. Ireland's hydrogen strategy, which is hotly anticipated, needs to include that development of long-term storage, hydrogen storage. It's not just about getting hydrogen into the economy, it's about making sure we have the storage there to hold that hydrogen to get us to net zero as well. And it's not just about hydrogen as well. We need to be developing all these forms of energy storage that give us that diversity and that scale across the island, so that we have that resilience that we get today from fossil fuels, and having not just a net zero system, but a very reliant one that's doing an awful lot of the heavy lifting in terms of getting us net zero across all the economy as well, and ensure that it'll be the backbone, and it's important that it's as resilient as it is today, if not more so. And then in terms of getting these assets on the ground, they'll need strong energy signals. We need energy signals because of their high capex. We need to ensure the right market arrangements are there for them. And we need to start talking about developing those business models for the low carbon dispatchable generation as well. So as I said, it's just around the corner, 2030. Obviously we're all very busy trying to build out all those renewables, get to that 80% target. But the net zero power system, it's going to be just around the corner, and we need to be also developing assets and the frameworks for that as well. So that kind of gives you an idea of the scale of change that we're going, and the importance of the energy, the EU repowering stuff as well. So I look forward to your questions and discussion afterwards.
Thanks very much for that, Aine, and I think that's exactly it, the scale and the challenge. It's easy in a meeting like this to get stuck into the detail of Commission proposals, but this is where we need to go. This is the sort of the scale of the challenge ahead, and how can Repower EU make sure that these kind of assets quickly get through the planning system? How can the market design make sure that we're given the right incentives for the types of zero carbon system services and storage that Aine is talking about? So it's great to get that sense and I suppose get some insight into the ambition and the scale of what's in front. Our next two speakers might address some of the questions. I won't say answer, but they'll at least address some of the questions there and kind of how this might fit into Repower EU. The first one is Brian Kevill, Director at MKO and also Chair of the WI Planning Committee. So Brian is going to give us some insight into, I suppose, the concept of the overriding public interest and the go-to areas that the Commission